Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi there to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Duala. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening. Civil society actors and a political class in Cameroon have been wandering aloud criticizing the huge mobilization of hundreds of youths to support President Paul Biya. Some of the youths who marched in the streets of Maro over the weekend were minors, some aged 13 and below. Why use kids to achieve political gains? We attempt an answer in this edition of the news. Plus, meantime, as the CPDM marched in Maruai, meeting of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party was disrupted by local authorities in Bafoussam. We will be taking you to Bafoussam in this edition of the news. And also, we will be going to the Bonaberry neighborhood here in Duala, where some hoodlums have been violently attacking the local population precisely at Granga. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin this edition of the news here in Duala. The Grand Hangar neighborhood in the Duala 4 subdivision is on high alert after a violent attack orchestrated by armed young men that was last weekend. The assault left at least 3 people seriously wounded or injured and caused significant damage to local businesses in Granga. Immaculate Fogwe was there. She now tells us what happened.
A wave of panic swept through the Grand Hangar neighborhood in Duala 4 subdivision on Friday night as armed men launched a coordinated attack, leaving at least 3 people severely injured. Local business owners reported widespread vandalism and threats. On the night of Friday at about 9 p.m. or let's say 10 p.m., while standing at the Monument Junction, a group of boys armed with machetes began attacking us, seizing our phones while injuring those who tried resisting them. We managed to escape by God's grace.
I
was attacked by some unidentified individuals. They burnt one of my shops while ransacking others. They later left a letter threatening to come back if I don't give them money. So I had to alert security agents. Residents are calling for urgent action to address insecurity while highlighting the need for improved public lighting to prevent future attacks. Our wish is that a vigilante committee is created to assure the security of the population. Those who like to do the job need to be trained for such tasks. I have lost a lot of money.
Les rafles de ces malfrats-là, il ne peut se plaindre alors que...
We need street lights in almost every junction in the Grand Hangar neighborhood. Though this can't entirely solve the problem of insecurity, but it can enable the population to easily see the danger that lies ahead. Authorities have apprehended several suspects who are currently being questioned by security elements of the Mapanda Gendarmerie Brigade. Residents are demanding concrete measures to ensure their safety and security.
Now let's talk about this trip of Minister Paul Atanganji to the northern regions of Cameroon by road. The Minister of Territorial Administration has promised to send a report to the presidency about the poor states of road linking Gaoundéré to Garoua in the north region of the country. Atanganji Paul was on a walking visit to the north. He drove on a 277-kilometer road for 7 hours, 12 minutes, a distance he said he covered in the year 2000 for just 2 hours. To Atanganji Paul, some of his colleagues are not following presidential decisions. Maljikan Gabriel has more.
Along the stretch of road linking Garwa to Ngaundere, a truck tumbles off. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Athanganji Paul, in a walking visit to the Grand North, stops to get details about the accident.
After the day, you come that side, I go nowhere. Because another motor day here. Another motor now go there for upstairs. And that's to go there. I said, go where to go.
Potholes are the reason for the accident, the Minad gathered after talking to an inhabitant of one of the villages along the Garoua-Ngaoundéré highway. As a result, Athanganji Paul will take up the role as a driver to get the actual situation of the road. We can understand the worries and frustrations of the people, but I decided to drive myself to get first-hand taste of the problem. In 2000, I did the same road in 2 hours 20 minutes. The same road today with escorts is 7 hours 12 minutes. You can now understand why the president said the road should be done. We are going to give the report, as we saw, to the person who sent me. The population no longer need promises, but action. According to the Minister of Territorial Administration, it was due to numerous complaints about the state of road that caused him to take to the driver's seat of his car. I arrived for a visit in Garwa, and during the discussions, the population were expressing their anger on the fact that already in the month of May, no work on the Garoua-Ngaoundéré road. So I decided to drive. The report to the president will be one based on what I saw, not on a report based on what my collaborators gave me. Athanganji Paul became the second minister to publicly discredit his counterpart of the Public Works Department for poor execution of road projects in the country. His outburst comes after that of the Delegate General of National Security, Martin Bangangele, who cried out on the poor state of the Duala-Tiko stretch of road.
Thanks, Matt. Now we move on to one of our major lead stories. Hundreds of youths from across the far north region mobilized for a public manifestation in Marwa to support the candidacy of President Paul Biya for the upcoming 2025 presidential election. Have expressed disappointment with the CPDM party, regretting ever sacrificing their time and activities for the fruitless event. According to them, not only were they deprived of food and water from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday under the scorching sun, but ridiculed with a remuneration or compensation of 500 francs CFA per participant. Innocent Aze with the details.
These youths, some of whom are far below the age of 18 from all the divisions making up the Far North region, participated in a public manifestation in Marwa under the Far North Youth Platform for Emergence, in which they were registered to manifest their support for President Paul Biya's candidacy for the upcoming presidential election. The platform targeted 100,000 youths for this goal. Initially, what animated these children to support this initiative, brandishing President Paul Biya's effigy, wearing t-shirts of him, and chanting praises for the CPDM natural candidate, was remuneration. It was only after they passed the whole day under the scorching sun from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. that they realized they were manipulated to attain political goals. They revealed receiving just 500 francs CFA each as remuneration. Even food was not given them since morning. That they were even chased away from the reception venue. Reasons, they regret wasting their time and energy participating in the event.
Le boulot, rien, même la famille, même à la maison là, nous méprise même de venir. Comment ça fait-il qu'on nous fait venir? Il n'y a rien maintenant. C'est quoi?
disappointments could be seen on their faces.
Mais vraiment, c'est décevant pour RDPC voir. C'est trop décevant même. Tout notre équipe même, c'est trop déçu même.
With the 500 francs payment, some hungry youths spend it on puff-puff to gain energy to return home.
Voilà, nous mangeons ici les gâteaux. Depuis le matin, on n'a rien mangé.
While the Far North youths brandished the disappointment, the National Assembly President, Honorable Kavayege Jibril, appreciated them for their sacrifices, massive turnout, and trust they have for President Paul Biya.
Pour tout cela, je leur adresse mes sincères et chaleureuses félicitations.
Some of the disgruntled youths took off the CPDM t-shirts in manifestation of their disappointment as they left the ceremonial ground. For critics, it was mission accomplished by the organizers.
Thank you, Innocent Asa. We will be talking more on that in the second part of the news. And same weekend, a meeting which was organized by the CRM opposition political party was somehow disrupted by local authorities. That was last weekend still. Some heavyweight political party militants of the opposition have crossed the carpet to the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. The militants, whose ranking profile spans from a sitting deputy mayor, a former alternate MP, and a one-time alternate senator, were received in the course of a ceremony at the CRM headquarters in Bafoussam, a ceremony which was somehow disrupted by local authorities. Here are some of them profiled by Fomi Amton Sanda.
Among those who cross-carpeted, mainly from the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF, and other opposition political parties to the opposition Cameroon Renaissance Movement, the CRM party, are a sitting deputy mayor, a one-time alternate member of parliament, a one-time alternate senator, a trade unionist, and sitting municipal councillors. Top among them is Barrister Sapi Lavoisier, municipal councillor and current deputy mayor of the Bafoussam 1 Castle in the Mifi division of the West region of Cameroon. Sapi Lavoisier moves onto the CRM party from the Social Democratic Front, where he served as national legal advisor for several years before his exclusion. Barrister Sapi Lavoisier also served as the municipal lord of this municipal council area between 1996 and 2002. Member of the Cameroon Bar Council, Barrister Sapi Lavoisier became popular in Cameroon when he took up the role as lead defense counsel for Cameroon's legendary critical music artist Lapiro Dimbanga. Another top-profile recruit is former alternate senator, municipal councillor, and trade unionist Luke Wanji. While in the SDF party, Luke Wanji served as alternate senator to Senator M. Nono of the Ndé division of the West region. Aside being a popular trade unionist, Luke Wanji currently serves as municipal councillor at the Bafoussam 1 Council. The lady on the list of 4 is Josephine Maso Talum, municipal councillor at the Bafoussam 1 Council and a former SDF alternate member of parliament for the Mifi constituency of the West region. Josephine Masu Talum is also renowned in the educational milieu in Cameroon. Last but not the least is Augustine Fosso, elected official and a municipal councillor currently serving at the Bafoussam 1 Municipal Council. The team of 4 received their CRM party card and were welcomed into the Renaissance Movement family in a ceremony that held at the party's West Regional Headquarters in Bafoussam, Sunday, May the 11th, 2025.
Still in politics, now to the southwest region, where municipal councillors of the Limbe 3 subdivision have raised concerns over the non-payment of their salaries. Also, the lack of implementation of developmental projects has made access to facilities difficult for them. These challenges were exposed during the first ordinary session of the Limbe 3 Council. Lucy Diengo Esie reports.
The Limbe 3 municipality in the Fako division of the southwest region lacks basic facilities. The situation has been worsened by poor road networks linking localities.
Presently, most of the community, villages and the various activity zones of Limbe 3 are not connected. So there is that difficulty in movement of people and goods goods and services from one place to another.
These, among other challenges like the abandonment of the Bimbia market and the management of the slave trade site, were raised by councillors during the first ordinary session dedicated to the examination and adoption of the administrative, municipal treasurer and stores accounts for the 2024 fiscal year.
If the slave trade area is boosted, tourism activity there is boosted, it will boost a lot of other sectors. It will have a boomerang effect.
The workers of the Limbe 3 Council during the session denounced unpaid salaries, which, according to them, adversely affects their output.
The salary situation is a permanent worry of the councillors. It is in all of our recommendations that the council should look at every means possible to make sure they handle the salary situation of the workers. It makes work to be inefficient. How do you expect somebody to work for how many years without salary?
Reacting to these concerns and the unpaid salaries, the head of the Limbe 3 Council, MOSOKE Luma Diboti, says,
it's better you count it in months because we receive salaries now and then. If you say they've been for 3 years without salary, it means it's a go without that, which is very impossible and very difficult for them. I'm not promising better days ahead, but I believe, I hope in the strategies that we are putting in place that we can get out of where we are.
Councillors urged the mayor to welcome the establishment of facilities like commercial structures and to revive the slave trade village, which can help bring revenue to the Limbe 3 Council and encourage development.
In foreign news, at least 23 people have been killed by gunmen in 4 separate cities in northern Nigeria, and in Gabon, Syria, and Noureddin Bongo are free. The former First Lady and her son were transferred on Friday to the family residence where they will be kept under house arrest. And in the Vatican, the seals put on April 21 after the death of Pope Francis on the papal apartment in the Apostolic Palace have been removed on Sunday, May 11 by Pope Leo XIV. Details of our foreign page roundup with Cedric Chakutu.
At least 23 people have been killed by gunmen in 4 separate attacks in Benue State, central Nigeria. 8 people were killed in Okum, 9 in Logo, and 3 each in Guma and Kwande. Several others were injured. According to local reports, fighting regularly breaks out between nomadic herders and farmers over land in central Nigeria. Since many herders belong to the Muslim Fulani ethnic group and many farmers are Christians, these clashes often take on a religious or ethnic dimension. Elsewhere, in Gabon, according to sources, former First Lady Sylvia Bongo and her son Noureddin Bongo have left prison where they were held for 19 months. According to reports, they were transferred on Friday morning to the family's residence of La Sablière. There, they met former President Ali Bongo, who has lived there for the past 19 months. The former First Lady and her son are not completely free. However, they are under house arrest. They must therefore always be available if necessary for Gabonese justice. This transfer took place weeks after the African Union issued a resolution recommending the immediate release of Sylvia and Noureddin Bongo. They faced several charges including embezzlement of public funds and money laundering. On Sunday, May 11, 2025, Pope Leo XIV reopened the papal apartment in the Apostolical Palace. Seals had been on the doors on April 21st following the death of Pope Francis, who was the only pontiff who had not wished to live in the vast apartment. This reopening took place in the presence of Cardinal Carmel Kevin Farrell and Secretary of State Pietro Parolin. The apartment has been occupied by every pontiff since Leo XIII in 1878, with one exception, Pope Francis, who broke with this tradition in 2013. The apartment was abandoned by the latter in favor of a more modest communal dwelling at the Santa Marta residence. However, the historic apartment was occasionally used for official receptions.
Thanks, Cedric. That report, viewers, brings us to the end of the first part of the news. Talking Points comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is MOSOKE Lucas. He is a civil society actor based in Boya. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting to be our guest tonight. Last weekend, we saw a huge number of youth marching in the streets of Marwa for President Paul Biya. What's your analysis of the fact that the ruling party has been galvanizing support, especially from the youth? What can be the agenda behind such mobilization ahead of the elections in Cameroon?
Well, I wish to see that each party has their strategy on how to mobilize militants and the nation to vote for them, especially since we are in the year of presidential elections. And we all know that the CPDM has always been championing this issue of campaigning and mobilizing people to vote for them. Nevertheless, I don't think that they look into the issue of minors or children, or so, whether a place is poor, and so on. The CPDM just has in mind, as any other political party in the world, to stay in power, to remain in power. Even if they don't go out to mobilize, they already know that their strategy is going to still yield fruits. But I just wish to say that most of these things are not championed by the youth. They are championed by some of the elites of the regions who wish to also still maintain themselves in power. So it's for the place of Cameroonians to be able to discern and to be wise that the CPDM has failed them. The CPDM has not been able to produce results in their areas. So when the CPDM comes like this, they should not better come out. They should stay at home. But again, Cameroonians are hungry. Cameroonians are desperate. Cameroonians are frustrated. Such rallies and such meetings have little kickbacks thereafter, and they'll take those kickbacks to take home because of the poverty that they are going through. But I just wish to say that the CPDM has always been able to use different strategies at all times to gain the popularity and to gain the mind and the desire to be voted again and to stay in power, no matter the situation of the region, no matter the situation of maybe the far north region, which is very poor, extremely poor. The CPDM will always use their strategies and to mobilize whosoever in order to canvass for votes. So my own take on this issue is that the population, the goodwill inhabitants of the far north region, who knows very well that the CPDM has virtually not done anything in the far north region, to mobilize their people. They should not wait for the CPDM to come first. They should mobilize their people and tell them not to vote for the CPDM again, because the CPDM has not been able to achieve anything in the far north region. So it's the place of the goodwill ambassadors to tell their people, don't vote for the CPDM, because they have nothing to offer. They will come again and deceive you people, and at the end, you will still not have anything. So let the goodwill ambassadors do their job before the CPDM comes and deceive the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But you know, the CPDM has its own militants, people who believe in the party. Now we have as well seen youths in the southwest, where you are in Boya, and the northwest regions contributing millions to support President Paul Biya. We are talking about youths in war-torn areas. Now Marwa suffering from Boko Haram insurgency. Can't this event have a negative toll on the mentality and also psychology of youths with regards to the political game in Cameroon?
Yeah, actually, I wish to say that the youths of Cameroon living in the contemporary world are wiser than the CPDM. You know, all these things are championed by elites of the respective regions. It's not really the initiative of the youths. The youths are just being used, and it's just a few youths that are used because you have millions of youths who already know their stand and who already have their stand. So psychologically, the youths are already aware that the CPDM has failed, and the CPDM does not have anything to offer. So if the CPDM comes to a region and mobilize a few youths to pretend that they are raising money to give to President Biya to stand again for election, it's an illusion. I think the real youths who know their left from their right cannot even be deceived by such moves, because they know that, again, it's another way of deceiving them, and that nothing is going to come at the end. So this is just an illusion, and many youths, if you took note, many youths already knew that this is another strategy of deception, and the strategy will not work. So telling lies that youths who don't have anything are raising money to give to President Paul Biya to stand for election. This cannot be true. This is a big lie, and I think that all Cameroonians have criticized this move, that youth should not be used in things like this, because youth in the first place don't even have money. Then you are telling them that they should come and give money to President Paul Biya, who already has enough and more than enough to stand for election. So how do we bring youth to claim that youths are raising money to give to President Biya? President Biya have not asked youths to come and give him money to stand for elections. So this, again, is a failed move by the CPDM. It's not going to yield any fruit, because no matter what they claim, President Biya does not need anything from the youth in order to stand for the next election. He already has what he needs in order to register for the next election and to stand as President Biya. So I just wish to say that we have to be wise, the youth have to be wise, and the youth should know that the CPDM has failed. The CPDM has nothing good to offer to them, and they should vote for other political parties that they think can be better off than the CPDM. They should vote massively for such political parties. The CPDM has not done anything serious for the past 40 years. So I don't think that it's now that the CPDM is going to do anything. Let the youth be wise. We are calling upon the youth, be wise. Vote wisely when the time comes. Don't vote for a party that has taken 40 years and have achieved virtually nothing. Thank you.
Now let's go back to the case of Marwa, Mr. MOSOKE. We saw underage children, you just watched there in the news a while ago, some were even 13. They had as compensation 500 francs, 1,000 francs, and they were not fed all day. That is according to what they told us after the match. Can this be considered using kids for political gains, an act which normally should be prohibited and strictly condemned?
Yeah, actually the use of minors in political issues is illegal and should not be practiced. It should be left in the hands of those that are at voting age and who can vote. So what I wish to say is that the CPDM, as most Cameroonians already know, have been operating in illegality in many ways. But since they are the ruling parties, most of the times people are not able to confront the CPDM when they go astray, using minors in political rallies and political issues to go out and march and so on. It's illegal. It's not a good practice. And I also wish to say that the CPDM has lost popularity, and the youths are already very wise. So they go now and use these minors that are not wise enough, who are still growing up, whose parents are normally supposed to safeguard their future, whose parents are normally supposed to protect them from such exposures that are not going to be useful to their lives. So I wish to say that inasmuch as it's an illegal act of bringing minors into things that have to do with politics, it is primordial for the parents to be able to safeguard and protect their children from such manipulations from the CPDM. The CPDM have been manipulating for long, and I think that they continue to manipulate like this. They know that people will not be able to do them anything, but it is time for people to protect their own children, not to be exposed to the manipulations of the CPDM. I also wish to say that the CPDM should stop manipulating minors. It's illegal, and they should not practice such things in Cameroon. If people stay quiet, it's not because it's correct. Let politics be in the hands of those that are mature and that are able and that are ready and that have reached the voting age. Minors are not supposed to be brought into the political scene because they don't yet understand anything that has to do with politics. So they should leave it in the hands of majors that are ready to vote. I wish to also seize this opportunity to call parents to be able to take their responsibility and call these elites to order. The elites should not manipulate the population. The elites should be able to do the right thing, because they are called elites because they are supposed to act first in the goodwill and in the best interest of the community. They are not supposed to manipulate the population. They're supposed to manipulate these minors. So that is it. It's illegal. Parents should take their responsibility to protect their children, safeguard their children, and parents have the right to confront the elites and call these elites to order to stop such a disorder that is happening in most parts of Cameroon. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. MOSOKE Lucas for accepting to be our guest tonight. You were talking to us from Boya. I would have loved to continue this conversation, but for time constraints, hope to have you some other time, sir. And viewers, that was what we put together for you today, Monday, on the news on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for always being with us. Our programs continue this evening. Equinoxe comes up at 7 p.m. with Search Along with 2, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Irish Ngolomala. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now, and see you again tomorrow, same time, God willing.